Unbelievable, guys. So here's try number 3 to get this live stream up and going. Very, very tiring, very, very boring, old. YouTube, please stop. You know, I don't know why they keep doing it. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, hey, now we got a few people in here. So I'm just saying, take 3. Try it again. See what happens. Um, Unbelievable. Hey, Gypsy Girl, how you doing tonight? Well, we're going to give this a minute or two and just kind of see if we can actually get this beyond 3 or 4 minutes. Might need a beer for this one. Yeah, no kidding. Unbelievable. Every time they do this, it's very hard to find your way back. Really, that's nuts. Unbelievable, man. I tell you, it's just I don't get the games. I just don't get the games. I don't get why they want to play games with people. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. None. Oh, well. And I'm going to leave them all up. Every one of them. Every time we have to restart this. The other day I took them all down. This time we're going to leave them all up. So. So we'll see what happens. Use the date as the title. Throw them off. You know what? I just don't get the games. I don't understand why they would do it. It makes no sense why they would continue to do it. And I know there's no storm going on, no inclement weather in this area at all. It was an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous day here. So it's just absolutely amazing that and like I said, this didn't happen before. Immature YouTube employees or something. It's definitely something. So it's just, I just don't get it. Why? Who am I? I'm nobody. I'm just a little small YouTuber, so they're going to try to squash me and silence me. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Filter the words you use. Well, you know what, Russell, that sounds great. But, hey, Vincent Koch, thank you very much. YouTube continues to control us. Games, it's old. YouTube sucks. Yeah, well, it's ridiculous. And the thing is, even changing the words in your titles, the games continue. Like I said, my channel, I've gone from getting a lot of views. I would put up a video, and within the first, let's put it like this, I could put up an average video and get 1,000 views in the first hour. A really, really good video, I would get 2,000 views in the first hour. Now, I'm lucky to be at 1,000 views after 3 hours. They've really restricted, what I'm doing or the traffic coming to my channel. And they continue every single day to take away more subscribers every freaking day. Absolutely craziness. Absolutely crazy that they do that. It's just nuts. But you're organizing others. I'm a threat. New Englander or New England Ender just said that. I want people to think for themselves. That's what I want. I don't. I'm not looking to take anything over. Not looking to be in charge. I just want people to think for themselves, use their own minds, make decisions based on that. That's what I want people to do. I want them to think for themselves, and I try to help people to think for themselves. I try to put videos out there that are going to make people think, to make you go, I wonder if that makes sense, or if that doesn't make sense, and then you go and you do your own research. That's kind of where, that's what I'm trying to do. So, but yeah, nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to just keep putting them back up. I'm just going to keep going. So anyway, we're at 4:27 right now as far as the time. So hopefully this one is going to be one that they will leave alone and let it stay up. So let's get back into topic now. Now that we're actually a few minutes into this and it hasn't died again yet, and hopefully it won't this time. So we will see. Okay, so I talked, and so people are going to have to watch the first couple, and then they're going to have to come back. All right, so We're talking about search and seizure. Okay, there's no protections with search and seizure, so they can come in under martial law, and they can just take whatever they want, search your stuff, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, and also curfews are most likely going to be instilled. Okay, so they're basically a sun up to sundown curfew, where if you're caught on the street, you're going to be arrested and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. If they're arrested under martial law, the military leadership is going to be the judge, jury, and jailer in that time frame. So, there's no getting a lawyer, doing this, whatever. They're making all the decisions, and they're just going to lock people up if they feel like they're a threat or in that type of situation. Okay. So here's the thing with martial law. This is what I think is a really, really good point that I wanted to bring up with martial law. This country's way too big to enact a complete countrywide martial law. Okay, it's absolutely too big. All right, so there's not enough soldiers, not enough police, not enough National Guard members, or even hired hands to control the entire nation. So that's important to remember. So it would not be anywhere. I think what you would see happen, and I kind of talked a little bit about this before, if martial law was enacted, they would try to lock down cities. But now let's think about that, okay, for a second. How difficult, let's just go with like New York City. How difficult would it be to lock down New York City? It would be nearly impossible, and that's just one city, okay? Now, what they could do, they absolutely could restrict travel. They could block off roads. Never underestimate what they can do. JJ, I'm not saying I'm not underestimating it. What I'm saying is they're not going to be able to do the entire country. So basically, here's an example. If you live way, way out in the country, and I'm talking way out, where you live on a road that's maybe, let's say it's a 10-mile long road, and you got 5 houses on that road in that 10 miles, you're probably not going to be affected with martial law at all, except that maybe the local sheriff might come up and knock on your door and ask for help in town. That would be how that might go if you lived way out like that. The farther out you are, the less affected by martial law you would be. Now, like I said, highways, they could restrict travel on highways. They could, put in a curfew. And if you were caught after curfew, then absolutely that could affect you in that aspect. So it's definitely something that could affect you, as far as that goes. So, if you had weapons, you definitely would need to hide them or bury them or get them so they're not right there, so they just couldn't come in and take them. Because again, under martial law, there is no due process, guys. Okay, so if they come up and they knock on your door, or kick your door in, they can do whatever they want to do. So they can come in there and they can search your house. They can take whatever they want. They could take you if they want to. If they feel like you're a threat, if they feel like you are causing problems, that's what they can do under a martial law situation. So, but again, the farther out you are, small towns are not going to be as affected, because even in a small town, okay, like you talk about a town of maybe 5,000 people. How big is that police force realistically? It's not that big, and they can't control everybody. If they know you have weapons and you don't give them up, they will still take you. You're right. They absolutely can, Kevin H. They absolutely can. Remember, though, it's a double-edged sword. You're absolutely right, JJ. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Living Sweet Journey says guns, food, water, medicine will be confiscated to control the population and create dependency on the government. Restrictions of movement, roadblocks, and checkpoints. Oh, yeah, they would try to... They would control the gasoline. They would control the food and all those type of things. So they absolutely would try to control those type of things. And so hold on one second, guys. But yeah, they would try to control those. There's different aspects they would control. They control the power grid. If there was an area that they didn't want to have power, they can cut that power off to that part of that, that grid. So there's definitely ways that they could do to hurt people, to get them to comply. So there's a lot of stuff like that they could do. Let's see. Oh, off topic. Can you get the same T-shirt? Absolutely. If you this T-shirt, guys, I'm gonna stand up here so you can see it. Okay, preppers, we are legion. Okay, because we are many. That's available on my website at preppernurse1.com. If you go there and go into the store, this T-shirt is available. We have a couple other T-shirts as well, but this was the latest design, the latest T-shirt that we just started making that. So it's a fun shirt, but I like it. So it's got the anonymous mask with the biohazard symbol in the center, and preppers, we are legion. So, and then of course it's got the on the arm patch. It has that, and that's on all the shoulders of the T-shirts. So, just so you know, do you think they would take our homes in the city that has solar power and use them as bases? That's hard to say. If there was a martial law, they would control the power grid too. So they wouldn't probably need to have somebody's home that has solar in it. They probably wouldn't need to take anybody's home over. Now, if it was a grid down situation and you had a setup where you had your own independent solar system, now they could definitely, if it was something like that, then absolutely they probably would. If somebody, Robert Blakemore said if it was grid down, yes. Yeah. So if it's a grid down situation, then you would probably see something like that happen, because they would say it's for the greater good or for whatever, those type of reasons of why they were doing that. So, what are your opinions for avoiding martial law in the city? Well, like I said, the biggest thing is we got to remember, guys, to avoid martial law, period. Let's not feed into their agenda. Let's not play their game. Let's not have, I hate you because you're this religion, or I hate you because you're this color. Let's not play that game. Divided, we're conquered. United, we can do anything we want to do. We can accomplish anything if we stand together. So if we work together as a human group of people, or Americans, because that's what we are at the end of the day, we're Americans. If we work together as Americans, we could absolutely accomplish anything that we want to accomplish. Don't let them divide us. The media constantly is trying to drive that division in this country constantly. So if we don't feed into that negativity, okay, and don't play those games that they're trying to play, we're going to be better off. We need to work together, Let's see, grid down. What do you think would be society's first step to sustainability? Well, if in a grid down situation, your first step to sustainability would be being able to feed yourselves, having gardens, knowing, people that know how to garden, and know how to grow crops and stuff like that, getting food in the ground as quickly as possible. And again, it all's going to depend on the time of year. If it's the ideal time, and this is strictly my opinion, just giving you my opinion, the ideal time to do a grid down situation, if I was an enemy of this country and I was looking to hurt this country, the ideal time to do a grid down situation would be January 1st, January 2nd. Why? Because you got all of January, all of February are miserable, especially in the Northeast, okay? It's cold, it's snowing, there's not going to be any gathering of wild edibles or anything like that in the Northeast or in the North, period, okay, after a certain date of time. March is always a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get in March. So if you could do a grid down situation in January of whatever time you decided to do it, you wouldn't even be able to, in the North, okay, get crops in the ground to maybe April, May. And if you have greenhouses, maybe a little bit sooner, okay? So you're talking about an extended period of time of a grid down situation. Now, how are you keeping warm? Okay, how are you taking care of your elderly and sick people and your people that are, on certain medications and all that type of stuff? I mean, it would be the absolutely perfect tsunami, if you will, because just killing those lights, you're going to kill millions of people, millions, because people are going to freeze to death. People are going to run out of food. They're going to, they're going to starve to death. So, and then it's not like you're going to be able to just get out and go and travel in that grid down situation, because whatever gas you have, you can't go get more because the pumps aren't working unless you open up those tanks and siphon the gas out of the tanks. But that's going to happen really, really quickly, and people are going to use that up very, very quickly. So you would see a mass migration south. You would see that happening. And even all those people that decided to go south would absolutely not, all of them would not make it. So I heard today that New York is charging $250K if you mention the word illegal aliens. I don't think that's true, Tony. I don't think that's true, not at all. Well, here's the latest thing, guys, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make the symbol, because to me this symbol means okay. All right, this symbol, this supposedly now is a symbol of hate. How stupid is that? I mean, that is absolutely the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard in my life, ever. That's a symbol for okay. It's different things. It's like the flinch game that I told you guys about before. That's what we use that symbol for in the flinch game. If you saw somebody make the okay symbol and they saw it and they looked at it, you got to give them an X, punch them, and then wipe it off. It was a game that we played. It is ridiculous, absolutely moronic, that now they're calculating that and saying that is now a hate symbol. How what's happened? That would be my question. What has happened to this country that unbelievable? Hold that symbol to your lips, and you are in your token. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. It amazes me. It really, truly does, guys. Never ceases to amaze me, the stupidity that some people do. But yeah, I heard the OK symbol this morning. It's garbage. Exactly. It's absolutely ridiculous. And guess what? I'll probably use it more because they're trying to play a game with it, and I'm not going to play that game. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not going to feed into it. It's just like you can't say certain words, okay? Like certain words are offensive. But if I'm in this group and I say that word all the time, that's okay. But if you say it, then it's not okay. I mean, it's nuts. It's just absolutely nuts. I mean, just, so, it's gotten silly. It's just absolutely silly right now. It's just, the political correctness has gone absolutely off the charts. Guys, if you haven't shot me a thumbs up yet, if you would do that, I definitely would appreciate it. I see we're up to 379 people in the chat, and we're actually 18 minutes in here to the third try, so I guess the third time is the charm, which is good. So far so good. So hopefully it'll stay that way. But yeah, our reality is being written by the Onion. Yeah, that's funny. It's gotten just out of control. It's absolutely gotten out of control. My school, it's mandatory for vaccinations. They won't let you go to school otherwise in New York City. I did see that. We'll talk about that too. I saw mandatory vaccinations in New York State now, and if your children are not vaccinated, they're not going to be allowed to go to school. And that's just more control, absolutely more control. And if you don't want your child, the N-word is only acceptable if the group it pertains to, but I still don't like it. Yeah, and here's the thing, with that whole thing, we're going to talk about the word. We're going to talk about it right now, okay? If you look up in the dictionary, and I'm going to say the word, okay? If you look up in the dictionary the definition of the word nigger, okay, it says an ignorant and stupid person. Doesn't say what color that person has to be. It just says that it's an ignorant, stupid person. So anybody could be that. Anybody, okay? The thing that absolutely floors me, okay, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, because now supposedly if you call me cracker, I'm supposed to be offended. I actually laugh if people call me cracker, because I think it's funny, because it just shows ignorance is what it does. Society has gone down the toilet. Also, I will continue to prep even when the money is tight. Vincent Koch, I understand 100%, and thank you very much for that donation. I appreciate that. So anyway, getting back on topic, what I was talking about, though. So if somebody calls me cracker, I'm supposed to be offended by that, because that's supposed to be a slur. But here's what I don't do. I don't walk around to other white people and call them cracker. Hey, cracker, what's up, cracker? How you doing today, cracker? Hey, cracker, cracker, cracker. Okay? You don't see white people doing that, okay? But it's okay if black people call each other nigger all the time. I don't get it. If it's so offensive and it's such a horrible word, why would you call each other that all the time? It boggles my mind. It really does. And if somebody could explain that to me, if it's so horrible and it's so offensive, why would you call each other that? It makes no sense to me, none whatsoever. But that's my 2 cents on that. And, I never got it. Suburbanite Prepper said, Ed, we can protect ourselves from them taking can we protect ourselves from them taking our stuff? That's why, Suburbanite Prepper, that's why I've talked about having caches. Not keeping all your eggs in one basket is another thing, okay? Having your stuff diversified. And I don't care if you have 20 different caches of stuff, some on your property, some other places, a couple miles from your house or whatever. I really, really think it's important that we don't put all of our eggs in that one basket, like I've said. If somebody rolled up here right now, okay, I'm just going to give an example. Military convoy rolls up to my house right now, okay, and they come out with their M16s and they say, we're taking your stuff. Guess what? They're taking my stuff, okay? I would rather be alive to be able to fight another day someplace else. Let them take what's here. Now, if I have caches all over the place, I know I have other stuff, so I'm not going to worry as much if they've taken some of the stuff that I have. So I think that it's important that we have caches. I think it's important that if you have people that you can trust, that maybe you could keep some of your stuff there, okay? Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. I think that's really important. So Suburbanite Prepper, I hope that answers your question. If they're going to come up and they're going to take your stuff, and if it's if it's a military thing, there's not much you're going to be able to do about it. Now, if it's just a band of local yokels and there's 10 of them, you start shooting a couple of them, they're going to probably take off running. All right. So that's, please cover the vaccination solution here in New York City. I don't think that there is a solution. I mean, they have total and complete control over that whole situation. So I don't know what to tell you as far as that is what you can do. If you don't want your children to go to public school, or if you don't want your children to be vaccinated, then don't send them to public school. You would have to homeschool. That's realistically the only solution you have right now, because you can't fight it any other way, because they've made that the law. If you don't get that child vaccinated in New York, they cannot go to public school. So the only option that you have at this point in time would be to hold them out and do homeschooling. Or Kevin H. said, move out of New York City. Exactly. So yeah, those are your options. Either get out of there or homeschool your kids, because otherwise there's not much you can do about it. There really isn't. And I hate to, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but there's really not a whole lot you can do about it. Being a lifelong military brat member, racism was non-existent on military bases. Well, I don't know what military you were in, JJ, or what branch. I was in the Army, and I was stationed down at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and racism was horrible down there, okay? Horrible. And I'm not just talking white people hating black people. I'm talking the blacks. Now this is when I was in, guys, so back in 85, 86, in that range, when I was in the service in Fort Bragg at that time, this is the way it worked, okay? Everybody worked together during the day, and at the end of the day, the whites went this way, the blacks went that way. If you were any other color, you picked a side, and that's who you stayed with. That's how bad it was when I was in. It was bad, really, really bad. And the reverse racism against white people, it was just ridiculous. I had and I've told this story before, and I'm gonna say it again. I had a really good friend of mine who was black. He was from Florida. And I'll even say his name because I remember it like it. I mean, I haven't seen the guy since I've been out of the military, so we're talking a long, long time. The guy's name was Dennis Roll, and he was from Florida. Great guy, really good guy. We hung out. We had a lot of fun together. We'd go out, catch a movie, drink a couple beers. He was a great dude, okay? And they always used to joke around and say, well, he's just another New Yorker because they said Florida was an extension of New York. But anyway, he comes to me one day, and he said to me, he goes, dude, we can't hang out anymore. And I went, why? He said the brothers had come to him, and they said, if you keep hanging out with him, because I was white, that they would absolutely ostracize him. He says, he goes to me, if I pick you, you're all I'm going to have. He goes, so we can't hang out. And I looked at him again, and I'll never forget it. And I looked at him and I went, Dennis, I understand. Because I truly understood. He was put in a position that he could either hang out with one white guy or all the other blacks. And if he did that, what happened if I turned on him? You know what I mean? Then he's got nobody. It was a horrible, horrible situation for him to be in. I felt awful that he had to make that decision, but he had to make that decision, and I understood it completely. So that's how bad it was when I was in the service. So racism is always going to be there, always, and it's stupid, and it's useless, and it solves nothing. And just to hate somebody because they look different than you or they talk different than you, it's just like the whole, okay, so here's another thing, and this always blows my mind too. Now, I'm a New Yorker. Obviously, I have a New York accent. I sound like I'm from the North because I am from the North, okay? If somebody's in the South and they have a Southern accent, a lot of people in the North will automatically assume that that person's stupid because they have that Southern accent, which is idiotic. It makes no sense. That's a form of racism. You are labeling somebody because of the way that they speak and the way that they talk. It is absolutely ridiculous. You know what? Intelligent people are intelligent people. If they have a Southern draw, if they have a New York accent, if they have a Boston accent, you go to Boston, their accent up there is totally different from ours. If you go into our state, in New York State, and you go down to New York in the Bronx, they speak a lot different than I speak here in this part of New York. So, it is the stupidest thing in the world. But the judgment of people happens all the time. The way you look, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you present yourself, it happens all the time. But they are telling me here that New York City, I need to get the meningitis vaccine. Is there a side effect to it, the meningitis vaccine? Oh, man, you know what? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't have that information off the top of my head because, I had meningitis when I was 4 years old. And so, I speak like I'm from Iowa. Okay. All right. I'm a Southern sounding Yankee. That's funny. But yeah, it's crazy, guys. But anyway, as far as the meningitis vaccine, I don't know. Like I said, I had meningitis when I was 4. I had a spinal tap because I thought it might have been spinal meningitis. Luckily, it wasn't, but it was still meningitis, and that one almost cost me my life at 4 years old. So, but yeah, so I have no idea. How about the Minnesota accent? Yeah, that's a totally different accent up there too. And again, you go to different parts of the country, people are going to speak differently. It's like, for me, it's a big joke because if somebody comes up to me and they go, you're talking with an accent, and I'll go, no, I'm not. You're talking with an accent. So to me, it's just funny. I think it's very, very cool. I want to shave my head. What's my routine? Furry Beaver just said off topic. He wants to shave his head. What's his routine? Okay, so what I do for shaving my head, I shave my head every other day. So that way I'm not going to get the razor burn and stuff like that. Like I shaved my head last night, so tonight would not be a shaving my head night. Okay, what I do, I shave my head in the shower, and I just use conditioner. I put conditioner on my head. Well, at first I get my head wet, obviously. Then I put conditioner on it, and then I just take the razor, and I usually start in the back, and I just start on one side and just work my way up. And by feel, you can feel where you've cut, and if you've missed anything, then you just go over that. After I do the back, then I'll hit my neck, and then I'll come to the front, and I just start on the side, and I just start doing that with the razor, and then I'll feel for high spots or rough spots. And that's how I shave my head. And like I said, I'm going to put it down here. You're not going to see razor stubble or anything like that. Using a conditioner, it really helps with that. So I have no issue. So like I said, I shave in the shower. I'll shave my face in the shower as well. And then when I get out, I'll touch up around my goatee if I missed anything. But that's what I do. Which brand razors do I use? Well, what I've used, I got my razors, and they discontinued making them, which makes me sad because when I run out, then I got to figure something else out. I got dollar store razors, and the razors that I had picked up ended up being the best razors. It's a 3-prong razor, and it was the best razors that I've ever used. And so I had actually gone to the store and I bought everything that they had. It was like 75 packs of 3-packs, 3 razor blades in a pack, and I bought them all. And they have, and I'm getting closer now to where I've been using the same ones for years, and I probably got 6 months, a year's worth of razors to go, and then I'll be out of those razors. That's one beautiful head. Well, thank you very much. And here's the thing: is you got to have the right kind of head to shave your head. If you got a really weird mishmashed head and it don't look right, don't shave your head. That would be my advice. So. My wife and I are watching on 2 different devices, 2 different accounts, double view for you. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Richard Bora. Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you so much. Guys, if you haven't shot me a thumbs up yet, if you would do that, that would be awesome. I would really, really appreciate that. U.S. stocks is plummeting. I know they were down today. I think they were only down like 70 points today, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on. It's Shave Your Head Hour with me as the host. Yeah, I guess so. I'll tell you what. I had long hair. When I was in high school, I had long hair. And, I went in the military. And then when I got out of the military, then I actually went with a mullet when the mullet was popular. I will admit I did have the mullet going. And, then I just started thinning out. And I started thinning out through this area here. And I just said, I always said as a kid, I would never be the guy with the hair on the sides and nothing through the center, and I would never be the guy with a comb over. I just thought that was ridiculous, and I would never wear a rug. I said, if I ever start losing my hair, I'm shaving my head. And when I first started shaving my head, which was probably, the kids are going to be 18 next month. So they were maybe 6 months old when I started really shaving my head. So I've been doing it for about 17 and a half years now. So when I first started shaving my head, a lot of the black dudes were already shaving their heads. Not a lot of white guys were shaving their heads. There was a few, but not a lot. Now it's like an in thing to do. But I just was like, I didn't care what anybody thought. I just was like, when I shaved it for the first time, I thought, okay, this is cool. I kind of like this. And then I kind of grew it back short, and then I just said, the heck with it. And I just started shaving it. And then that was the end of that. And I'll be honest with you, if I could grow my hair back, if magically this whole area regrew the hair, I would still shave my head. It is low maintenance. I always joke around. I go to bed in the morning or at night, and I get up in the morning and my hair's done. It's really low maintenance, and I love it. So, Oh, I did promise everybody I would post a picture with my long hair. Okay, well, let me grab my thing here, guys. Hold on one second. Hold on.